I'm in the wrong Zoom.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm in my work Zoom. That's why it says Michael.
You want to come out and come back in?
Yeah, let me come on again.
Okay.
I'm here.
Nice. Hello, I can hear you. Hey, I am here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the WTIO podcast. Want to talk it out. Today we are speaking with the lovely LaTrenda George. If you are familiar with Miss LaTrenda George, you would have known that we've had a conversation with her before, and we were talking about a book that she is currently releasing on Amazon. And that book that she released on Amazon, you should be able to find it under the title, Think the Best, Let Go of the Rest. Again, that title is Think the Best, Let Go of the Rest. So if you are familiar with Miss LaTrenda George, you've heard that conversation in regards to that book. And I'm going to say we're going to receive her today as if you've never heard anything about Miss LaTrenda. And I'm going to take this time to introduce her. So Miss LaTrenda George is a certified mind, body, and soul practitioner and facilitator. Then she is a natural born listener. She brings 11 years of experience to the table, unprogramming her clients from past challenges. Growing up as an introvert, she was told that she could only succeed if she became an extrovert. But when she spent the time alone, exploring her intuitiveness, she realized that those were the times where she noticed her creativity skyrocketed. And I would say Miss LaTrenda George definitely succeeded in life by being true to herself and thus dedicated her time helping others find success too. Now, in her role as an identity coach, Miss LaTrenda George leverages her impeccable leadership skills and her philanthropy skills to help introverts and extroverts make the most out of their lives. She also is an author to help for self-help nonfiction. Ms. LaTrenda also inspires and empowers others to act on their deepest desires. She is knowledgeable in fields more than one. She holds a bachelor's of art degree in African and African American studies from the University of Michigan, and subsequently bagged a master's degree in business from the University of Central Michigan. She is the host of the Awakened Legend, which is a podcast where entrepreneurs from all over the world share their success stories. She's also a single mother of two, and she makes her home in Atlanta, Georgia, and spends her free time reading, roller skating, and exploring different cultures. So let's welcome Miss LaTrenda George. Hello, Miss George. How are you?
I am wonderful, Barbara. I am so psyched to be here once again to share with others and to sit this time with you. I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. I'm just as excited too. Now, before we talked about your one book today, tell us what we're going to be discussing today.
Today, we're going to discuss my first publication, which I'm so excited about. Download Your Truth, 4 Steps to Living Within. This is a self-help book, an inspirational book. It's basically my life story in this book. And I talk about 4 different steps you can take to really download your truth. Depends on what you've been through with life, where are your thoughts about life, where you are and where you want to go. So those things to connect those dots. So in the 4 steps of living within, I discuss the 4 things that I personally went through. I want to always share from an experience that I personally had. And while writing this book, so many other people could identify with what I was going through. So in those 4 steps and how I break down the book, the first one is your truth. Taking time to understand what is your truth. Not mama's truth, not daddy's truth, not grandma, grandpa, not your teacher. What is your truth? So that's a whole process. And then we go into embracing change. Once you learn your truth, and if your truth and what you're living today is not line up, how do I embrace that change? What's the step to move forward? And then we go into faith download, because once you understand your truth, once you embrace the idea of change, if you don't believe it, you ain't going nowhere. If you don't have the faith to move forward, if you don't have the belief that this is possible for me, that this desire I have is something I can birth outside of myself, and that the world is ready for it because I'm ready for it, you have to. And in the last phase, I talked about the shift.
Okay.
It's a whole shift that has to occur for you to be actively involved in that.
Okay. So let's do a little deeper dive about the first phase. Walk me through that. What does that look like?
So the first phase is truth.
Okay.
So that's, why do I like the things I like? Why do I do the things I do? You're asking the truth part is you asking yourself questions and being able to sit with that question. It shouldn't be a question where you can just wrap one answer, go deeper. So why do I like the things I like?
So exploration, trying to get to know you first. Is it because what I hear you saying, to try to figure out why you like it? Is it because something within, or is it because you're mocking or mimicking what your parents have done, what a best friend has done? But what does that like means for you? And what does that hold? Okay.
Yeah. So it's just, for example, your first love, or you're young, you're in school, right? And it's a boy or it's a girl, for guys that, you really like. And why do I like them? What about me is attracted to them? Right? Is it just physical? They're pleasing to my eye, or just something they do? Is it the way they behave, or is it something in their personality that I'm attracted to? And then ask myself, okay, do I feel that I possess those things?
That's a good question. Am I attracted because they have what I don't, or am I attracted because they have what I have? That's awesome.
Yeah. So those are the type of questions when you're digging down to your truth, really understanding that. It's just like this example, food is another good example. I like ice cream. Do I like ice cream because I feel it's healthy for me? Or do I just like the flavors I like of ice cream? How does my body feel when I eat ice cream? What emotions come up when I eat ice cream? Right? So we can know if we eat a whole big plate of food, right? And we get sleepy, we get tired. Before I indulge in that big plate of food, is that what I want today? Do I want today to be a day where I'm just kind of lazy around? I'm going to eat this and just feel all warm, or I want to eat something a little lighter because I have this plan for today. because your body's going to let you know, right? The body's going to let you know the truth.
Yes.
Because after you consume that meal, either you're going to feel energetic or you're going to feel sleepy.
That's so interesting. I'm going to share with you a thought that came to mind. I can recall in my younger days, I had a job where I was working, and I had a colleague, and she was sharing with me that she was planning an intimate moment for that evening with her and her boyfriend. And she told me that she was preparing a meal, and I asked her what was she cooking, and she says, "Oh, we're going to have spaghetti, we're going to have meatballs, we're going to have chicken, we're going to have salad, and we're going to have garlic bread." And in my mind, I thought, that's going to be an excellent meal, but I don't know if you're going to have energy after that. Because I was thinking that if I consume that,
Yes, yes.
how would I feel? And it was so funny to me that, when I was younger, I don't think I had a filter with her, because I felt like we were close enough that I could share. And I was like, either you got to do it before you eat, or if you eat that, you're not going to do it that night. You'll do it the next day, but it's not going to be that night.
Yes.
And I can,
It'd be that morning. Yes.
and it was so funny because she had such a rebuttal. "Oh, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. It's going to be fine, da, da, da." And the next work day that we had together, she shared with me that they were too full to engage.
Yes, 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 yes.
Should have listened. So that makes sense. Everything that you mentioned makes sense.
And that's that truth part, right? And it's at a phase when we're younger, we really don't think about, we're just doing,
Mhm.
But when you get to the point where you can really sit down with you, and if you want to feel your optimum health, it's like, I exercise with people who are like me. I've never been a real big exerciser, right? I love walking in nature, and I didn't even really take my walking as exercise, but it was exercising.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when you turn that perspective to, I exercise to live, I exercise to move my body because it feels good when I move my body. So that
Mhm.
could be dancing, that could be roller skate. So when you say you exercise to feel good, it feels good to move my body, it opens you up to, I just don't have to go to the gym and just get on the stepping machine and go there for hours.
Mhm.
I can do other things that feel good, as playing softball, whatever,
Mhm.
bowling, what as other things I can do to move my body that feels good to me.
Mhm. Mhm.
So those are those true. I can wear my hair, in the African American, our hair is, so many people is as a statement, right? It's a statement to our vibe, our energy, what we feeling. Sometimes we change it up. Sometimes we borrow somebody else here and put on our head. We do all type of things, and
Yes.
it's just depending on what flow, where we're at, what we doing, how we want to show up. So it's are you comfortable to wear your hair natural? Are you comfortable in your beauty? To
Mhm.
say, hey, this is me.
Mhm.
This is all of me. And
Mhm.
if I want to wear a wig, I can do that too.
Correct.
Right. And
Correct.
so it's all these different questions about everything in your life. I'm just giving examples where you got to know your truth.
Mhm.
You got to know what feels good to you. What do you do that you feel that you show up when how you can put on an outfit, and I know I got it going on today. I know I look good today. I
Ab-
don't gotta wait till nobody else tell me I look good. I know this because how I feel. It's just like I know my younger brother told his sons, if you ever going through a life for a man, he said, if you're having a hard time, go get you a fresh haircut and go clean your car up. Get your
Oh,
car clean and a haircut. Because for some men, that's empowering to them when they know they freshly shaved, got their hair cut, and their car clean, and they can go riding around.
mhm.
It's like,
You can't
I
tell
know I'm looking good
me.
today, right?
Right.
I know I'm looking good. I'm smelling good. Put some clothes on,
My
right? So,
skin
and
clean,
then
my
we as women, you be attracted to when the man, like, he can be pumping his gas. He can be doing something so simple. You like, that's a clean looking brother, like, or person, right? It's
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
it's refreshing.
Yeah.
And it's same thing, it's refreshing for him. So it's just knowing your truth and being able to embrace that and show up as that. But take time to dive in and really find out why you like the things you do, why
Mm.
you choose to do things, why are you doing the career you do? What do you get out of that career?
Right.
Right?
Or is it a good time for you to embark on your own?
Yeah.
And if so, what's holding you back?
Yes, yes. Because
What
sometimes it's nothing that you did to hold you back. It's something someone that you hold in high respect told you this career is safe for you. You know, you're good at that. You could
Mhm,
be good at that, and you could be good at other things too. You could use that skill set that you have acquired and take it to the next level into something else.
mhm.
Or you could start a hobby. That's why a lot of times people hobbies end up birthing and taking over their main
Yeah,
job, right?
absolutely.
Um, but it's getting down to that truth. And so in the book, I talk about the things I had to shed, you know, these layers I had to shed as a middle child, of all the different things of my parents getting divorced at a, you know, at a young age when I was in elementary school. So all these things I had to shed to find my truth, my true path.
Mhm.
And so that's what I dive in the book.
So then when you transition from phase one, how do you seamlessly transition into phase two?
So phase two is embracing change. And I use the word embrace
Mhm.
purposely, because as humans, change usually don't come to us very easily. We like what we like,
Mhm.
or we're too scared to change. We're fearful of change. Change is going into the unknown.
Mhm.
But in the book, I talk about how easy nature embraces change. Right,
Mhm.
the butterfly, the caterpillar is not resistant to become the butterfly. The
Okay.
leaves are not trying to resist the change when fall comes. It's
Okay.
going to shed, it's going to grow back. But why is it so hard for us to embrace the unknown? If we have faith and know we're in this life for a purpose, we're here to give. If we know these things,
Mhm.
what stops us from taking that change?
That's really a good question. What stop us? Because I think for many, maybe the response may be, you know what, that's a good question. I don't know. And I think for a large sector, they probably could point to what you mentioned earlier, someone that they hold in high regard that's in their circle. It could be an elder, it could be a grandparent, a parent, someone who's close to them that they take, their thoughts into high consideration, where they have more more clout than their own. Um, and so they would say, well, maybe you know better. But I think it is important to say, how do I walk my own journey? How do I identify my own path?
Yeah.
Because, that is what's really important, because if you don't know how to do that, then you would find yourself in a bit of a pickle.
Yes. And the thing is, we are to respect those people that we hold in high regard.
Mhm.
Still respect them, but it's the learning how to communicate with others in a way where you're not disrespecting them, but letting them know this is something I need to try. This is something I need to go to because this is my path. I respect you. I believe in you.
Mhm.
And they have chosen their path.
Right.
But it comes a time when you have to go on your path. And if you start off small, a lot of times with entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship is not one of those things that's for the weak.
Oh,
Because
well.
you have your ups and downs, everything can happen, things can change, the market can change. There's so many things that can happen in
Right.
entrepreneurship. It's not like you got that faithful check coming in. You got to get out there and attract the energy of the customers and the clients that you need to be successful.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's understanding that it's a process. So if you're working a full-time job, you may want to start it as a side hustle, of that hobby, growing that thing. And see if that's what you really want to do. Just be open. But I think when you're embracing change, it can be changing how you go about dating other people, who you spend your most time with.
Mhm.
It's so many different changes we go through. Our bodies go through changes. I'm not the same size I was when I was in 12th grade. All right, the hips get the spread. You have kids. All these different things change up on you.
Change
But
is
it's
inevitable.
right. But embrace the change with grace and understand that if you feel a fear to change, identify what that fear is. If it's a real fear or is it something that you're making up? So many times we say, we're going to do this. Well, probably, I'm going to have this webinar, but probably nobody's going to come. Well, you already put out what you're expecting.
Right.
Your expectation, even if it's one person, you give one person shows up, you give that one person all you would give 500 people.
Let's start there. Yeah.
Just start there and not. So I really want to say, when I say embrace change, I talk about in the book how I had to embrace change, the changes in my body and changing the things I desire, I want to do. People say, oh, you're so good at this. You need to work here. You need to do this, and it was not true to who I am because I was not happy. Pay attention to what your body tells you. You can tell right now, if I say a statement, my body's going to respond whether or not I believe that statement or not. So I always do this test with myself. If you stand up in a room with your hands, along your side, and you ask yourself a question. If the question is yes, your body's going to sway forward on its own. If the question is no, your body's going to sway backwards. So if I stand up in the room and say, I am Barbara Thomas, my body's going to automatically sway back because I'm not Barbara Thomas. But if I say I am LaTrenda George, my body's going to swing forward. So I tell people, when you're embracing change, see how comfortable you are with the change. So for example, if I want to go into a new business or I want to partner with somebody, I'm going to really test and see what my body feels about me partnering with that person.
Some would say that's following your intuition.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I truly believe that we have a blueprint in us that knows the way, that knows the path, that's leading and guide us to make the best decisions. But because you all know, most people know, when you ignore your instinct, you ignore your intuition, things don't work out.
Yes.
Or you say, oh my God, I knew that wasn't going to work because you felt it prior.
Or you'll say, I should have followed my first mind.
Yes, yes. I mean, that happened on tests and whatever, you take it a test, it's like, oh, I knew that answer. I knew that was right. And then you missed the test, you taking a real estate exam, you taking a big exam to get your certification, and you 2 points short. You knew the answer.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all these different things about embracing change. And that's part of that learning truth, trusting your inner knowing, trusting how you're designed for your path. And when you embrace change, you become open to learning. You can connect with different individuals, and you can grow from that point.
Okay.
It's no limits. You're living in no limits, right? Because everything you're open to.
Right. Well, you know what? I like that. And I'm hoping that our listeners are definitely open to go to Amazon and look for Download Your Truth by LaTrenda George. And we want LaTrenda George under Download Your Truth to be another tool that you can add to your toolbox. And it's a resource that you'll find that you can definitely use. Now, as we take a look at Download Your Truth on Amazon, we're going to try to go into phase 3 to understand how phase 3 brings everything together, and so that you can understand how you can go from identifying to embracing to, what's the title of phase 3?
Faith download. So this is the faith part of it. This is the belief part. So this is a part where you open yourself up to say, okay, I know my truth. I embrace the part that I need to change some things to get where I want to get, because we know if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. Now comes the faith. Do I believe that? Do I believe who I desire to be is who I can become? Do I believe that I'm talented, gifted, and skilled to do X, Y, and Z? Do I believe I deserve love? I am loved, and I am loved. Do I believe that I am? Do I have the faith to believe that I am safe? I am protected. I am supported. I am guided. I am provided for. Do I have the faith to believe that? Because after I embrace change and I'm in the faith download, I got to question, what do I truly believe to
Right.
be true?
Right.
Do I believe that I am attractive? Do I have the faith to believe that I'm an attractive person? Do
Mhm.
I have the faith to believe that I have a story to tell and there will always be a platform for me to share my message?
Mm. And here's the deal with that. You just made me think, if you don't have a platform, do you have the ability to create one?
Mhm. That's it.
If you don't have the platform, and it's so interesting that what you just said, that I was thinking about when I was looking for an outlet, social medias with the podcast, YouTube, the web page, there was no outlet for me to kind of plug into until I took my time to figure out how to develop these different social media online platforms. And I'm thinking, yes, this has taken a lot of time to figure it out, but I can't be the only one, so if I'm not the only one, then how can I plug in to help the next person? Because if I'm plugged in to understand that this is a need that I have, then I'm very, very certain that there's multiple people behind me that has the same issue. So how can I help give them a boost? So I think that what you're saying is great, because the topic today on Clubhouse was, do you have a business? Do you need a boost? Let's talk it out.
Yes, yes, yes. Because once you open yourself, and like those individuals that was in Clubhouse with you to this morning, once you open yourself to be a resource for others,
Mhm.
your energy will pull in the customers, the clients, the individual who need to hear that will
Mm,
be in the place, or they're connected to the person who needs that.
mhm, mhm.
We have to have faith that when we realize a need, there's always someone else who needs that service, that resource.
Absolutely.
That desire that pops in you, that faith, that intuition, that download from heaven, that download you receive is something that is turning in you to create, to put out to someone else. It's never about us. It's
Right.
never about LaTrenda George. It's about, does LaTrenda have the faith that will she take the action to be an answer?
Hello. I love it. I love it. Take the action to be the answer. Oh, I'm going to borrow that. Thank you so much. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Action to, I love it. That, yes, thank you so much. And I will be paying homage every time I use that. Thank you so much. That is a resource in the toolbox.
So I just want to, I have so many people um, that I have came across who have great ideas, but they don't really believe their idea. Because once you connect with the idea, it's just like you hear people say, oh my God, I thought about that invention before it was invented.
Yes.
And I never did it. I thought about it. Now someone else did it. It came to you. But when the invention, when the answer is so powerful to the collective, it's not going to wait on you. It's
Correct.
going to go over to the person who's ready
Yes.
to take the action, to be the answer, right?
Yes.
It's going to go somewhere else
Mhm,
because that is needed in a certain specific time and space.
mhm, mhm.
And so we have to believe, even if you go in saying, I don't know how this is going to work, but I believe this can happen.
Correct.
You're not going to have all the answers at the beginning of
Correct.
anything. Like you said, you did the research. It's like, okay, put all this energy to realize, figure out this social media out, figure out there's ways to do these things. And I know I'm not alone in this, but I took the action to
Mhm.
be the answer for myself. And now I can take the action to be answer for someone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting because my cousin, she always say, don't hide it, divide it. So I've gotten that statement from her. Don't hide it, divide it. You can't take it with you.
Yes, 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 yes. So
Yes.
spread the faith, believe it yourself first,
Mhm,
because that's one thing about sales.
mhm,
If you don't believe in yourself about the sale, how do you believe that someone else going to buy in it? If you're not passionate about what you're selling,
mhm.
how can you get someone else to be involved in that?
Absolutely. How can you?
Right? The people who you admire is because some part of their story, some part of what they produce resonate with you. But
Absolutely.
they had to be true in their self and believe they can put that possible and put that out there. And that's what attracts you to people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what attracts you to do certain things. That's what attracts you to buy that book. That's what attracts you to participate in that class.
Right. That makes sense to me. So now when we look at putting all phases together, phases 1, 2, and 3, and looking at download your truth, then what looking at doing phases 1, 2, and 3 with your book, how can an individual who is using your book as a resource, how can they apply that, or how can they sit with that to really mull over and make it useful for them? How do you see that working?
And that's why I did when I wrote the book first. A lot of people said, "Oh, it should have a journal to go with it." And now I have an affirmation journal out there, so you can pick up both of them.
Okay.
But it's really sitting down. A person can apply it. I made the book a small book, so a person can just use it, read it a weekend,
Mm,
and really put out a plan. But first, you gotta don't try to rush it. Deal with the truth part,
mhm.
deal with the change, deal with the faith download, and then we're gonna deal with the last chapter. Take time to really apply it to you. Highlight in the book, write on your own, pull out words of affirmation out the book. It's about applying what you're learning daily.
Mm.
Not as you just read a book. It's going to be certain statements for each person that's going to resonate in the book. Pull out that statement for you.
Okay, so it's an interactive type of resource where you need to get your yellow, your pink, your green, your blue highlighters with your red inks, your blue inks to be, to be
Yeah.
interactive. Okay, I like it. I like it. And what I'm also hearing is take it in small bites so that you can digest it. And before you move on, don't just consume it all at one time, because the goal is to actually develop tools that you can use when you need to use them. Am I hearing that correctly?
That's so true. I was working, doing some contract work for a gentleman, and he's a CEO of a company, and he grabbed a hold of my book, in the workshop. He found out I was an author. And he said, "LaTrenda, I read a statement in your book." And he said, I had to sit with that statement for 6 weeks
Oh,
before
wow.
I read the rest of your book.
It moved something.
It moved something in him
Mhm.
that calibrated him to change the way he was running his whole company. And
Mm.
he's way over my senior age. He's much older than me. But he said I had to sit with one statement for
Mm.
6 weeks.
So he did the work.
He did the work.
He did the work. And that's interesting because, when people say that they sit with something, usually that means they read it, they didn't like it, and so they put it down and walked away. He said
Mhm.
he put it down and sat with it, meaning that he did some kind of work with it because he came back to the book.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But he said it hit him so hard,
Mhm.
it questioned everything he was doing.
Mhm. That's awesome. So what I hear is that, for the audience that is currently listening, that you're in for a treat, that you're definitely going to find something in the download for you book to actually, put it to use. And who knows, maybe might not need it today, but you may need it tomorrow. So I'd rather have what I don't need today, have it today versus needing it later and don't have it. So that to me, it goes a long ways to pick up what you don't need. I'd rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, because that is a really that's a gut wrenching feeling to have, that you need, $4 just to take a bus ride and you don't have it. And so now I have to take this walk in a pair of heels that is
Yeah.
not conducive to this walk, nor is it conducive for me to walk barefooted based on all of the debris I see on the ground. So,
Yes. Yes.
so yeah. So I think that what you have shared with us today is awesome. And I'm really expecting for individuals that are listening and today to really walk away with more empowering information than what they started off this podcast with, and to definitely go to Amazon and pick up your book, download for you. And I really think that they're going to like it and they're going to get a lot out of it. And I want to say thank you for joining me again.
Thank you so much, Barbara. And I just want to tell everyone, it's appreciation for you to just tune in, listen to this podcast. It's great to be her guest. And it's great to you guys to open me up and let me share in your ears today. And I appreciate it so much. So yeah, check out Download Your Truth, 4 Steps for Living Within. It's on Amazon. You can just search LaTrenda George or Download Your Truth, and you will notice it there. It's also a very great gift. One, I get compliments on it for if you have a college student who's going away from college, or they're out of a young adult that's out of college and they kind of just figure themselves out. It's a great tool for them to really help them understand. I had a father tell me he read it. He was like, "Oh, I gave that right to my daughter because she got out of college. She didn't get the career she was expecting to get. How you got out of college and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go do this, this, and that." And then she found herself working somewhere that was not really what she envisioned would happen after she had spent 4 years in college.
Yeah.
And she read it and then she said, "Dad, can we buy this for all my college friends?"
Right.
And so it's just one of those things that guys share. And a lot of people say they've read it 3 or 4 times, So
Mhm.
I'm grateful to give and to share. And I hope you'll do that too with you guys, whatever your desires are in life. Make sure you share it with others.
Also, and I want everybody to know that you can find LaTrenda on the podcast Awakened Legend. Again, her podcast is Awakened Legend. You can find her there, where she definitely discusses entrepreneurs from all over the world and share their success stories. So please tune in to Awakened Legend and hear more great information and concepts from Miss LaTrenda George. So again, thank you for joining us today on Want to Talk It Out here on WTIO, where we talk about anything and everything. It was a pleasure having you today.
Thank you.